Hi, I'm Dr. Mark Pitstick at soulproof.com, answering commonly asked questions about life, death, and afterlife. And today I'm talking about suicide. Is that a one-way ticket to hell? What happens to people who commit suicide? This is such an important topic. Just last week I got an email from a mother in Canada whose 38-year-old son committed suicide. He had suffered with mental illness for about 20 years and literally lived a hell on earth for 20 years. Tried everything they knew to get better, and at some point he just couldn't do it anymore. Well, the mother told a couple family members what happened, that he committed suicide, and they said, "Oh, that's horrible. That means he can't go to heaven and you'll never be able to see him again." So this poor mother then told the rest of their family and friends that he died of a heart attack. And I thought, how sad is this, that there's so much ignorance, so much judgment, so much reliance on archaic, erroneous information, that a mother whose son dies has to lie about what happened to him. So we can do better than that. So first of all, you may have heard earlier in life, a lot of us when we were young, suicide is one of the unforgivable sins. Suicide is a slap in the face to God. Keeps you from going to heaven, a one-way ticket to hell. More BS. Somebody just made that up. It's not based on the facts. So here we go again, those old erroneous concepts. First of all, there's no such thing as an unforgivable sin. I can understand why people would make mistakes or have lapses in judgment. You know, do we think a child is sinful because she falls down while learning to walk? We understand you have to crawl before you walk and walk before you can run. Well, the same way with humans. We learn by making mistakes. Well, certainly the Creator understands that as well and forgives and understands. So there's no such thing as an unforgivable sin. Next, if you listen to the video about heaven and hell, you understand there's no such thing as hell. Yes, there are temporary, self-created hells where we have lower energy, where we're unhappy, unhealthy, but not fiery, eternal ones, certainly. It's not a slap in the face to God. God doesn't have a face. God is not a big guy or gal in the sky. So time to drop all of that. Now, suicide certainly isn't the highest path. Certainly would be better for a person to find another way to deal with the challenges. In my work as a holistic physician, I've helped a number of people who were suicidal, and it turns out they had severe nutrient deficiencies that affected the brain functioning. So they had profound depression, they saw no hope, no way out, so they were contemplating suicide. And with literally a few dollars worth of minerals and vitamins and other nutrients to provide the brain, all of a sudden, guess what? They have a life again. They feel happy and they feel energetic and they see hope. So if you're one who is thinking about suicide, or if you have a loved one who's thinking about that, you want to check my holistic health website, radiant101.com. Written an entire book about this, explaining how to get well again and be energetic, happy, and healthy. However, for people who do go ahead and take their lives, again, I understand, and certainly Creator understands, sometimes those people have imbalances, nutritional imbalances, mental imbalances. Sometimes they're using drugs or too much alcohol, and they're just not in a balanced state. Sometimes people have intractable pain. They've suffered so long, so severely, that they just can't take anymore. Other souls will come to earth and not a good timing. These are immature souls who perhaps don't listen to their guidance team, and they say, "Oh, I can handle whatever," and they come down here, and then maybe they're bipolar or have some mental imbalance, and they realize, "Oh my gosh, you know, I shouldn't be here. I just can't handle the toughness of planet Earth," and so they take their own lives. So Creator understands all those things, and it turns out that the very worst that happens is that soul usually decides to just repeat. It's kind of like in school. You drop out of a class, you have to repeat it later on. So the soul will have to encounter that same sort of challenges again, and this time work through it rather than giving up. But other souls, for example, who have long, intractable pain, it's understood that there's a time to die. Our medical technology has not kept up with our bioethics. In years past, a person who is severely ill would die from pneumonia or something like that. But now we have the capabilities to keep people alive beyond any semblance of dignity and be sure about it. Part of it is about money, about profit. And part of it is about this archaic image of God, like, well, it's God's will when you die and we shouldn't interfere. But we're interfering by giving them antibiotics and putting them on ventilators and keeping them alive via artificial methods. So I think when we address the timely death, a death with dignity, euthanasia, we don't make our dogs and cats suffer, but humans must. Where'd that come from? There will be less suicide of that source. But whatever the case is, know it's not an unforgivable sin. Know that your loved one can certainly reach heaven. Maybe after they die, they're going to have to go through a deep sleep, go through some counseling, some rehab, but then they'll get back with it just like everybody else. So if you had a loved one who has committed suicide, I want you to know that. I discuss much more about that in the Soul Proof documentary and book, important topic. And again, if you're considering suicide, please look at my website, radiant101.com, an article about suicide, article about how you can get your life back again. Thank you for sharing this with others.